We're at the IAS. We're here with Myron Cohen from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, who has been a staunch advocate and researcher and activist, whatever you want to call yourself, in the area of research and prevention. So we want to talk a little bit about the back story of the history, and then real quick on up to the future and what we're really looking at today.
Okay. That's a great question, actually. From the beginning of the HIV pandemic, prevention has been a cornerstone. Every case you prevent is remarkable. So the beginning of prevention was pretty straightforward. We recognized a sexually transmitted disease, a bloodborne disease, make the blood supply safe. That happened very quickly. Prevent the sexual transmission of HIV. That's proven harder. So the beginning was condoms, which work, but they're just hard to deploy. Treatment of sexually transmitted diseases. It works at some level, but hard to treat just the right infections at just the right time. And lastly, circumcision was recognized as a potential benefit, and it's proven to be a benefit. So we fast forward, and over 30 years. It's not, I guess, not such a fast forward. We've tried for 30 years to make a vaccine. If it takes 1,000 years, we'll make a vaccine. And we see a lot of movement in the vaccine field now as a result of the 30 years of work. And then fast forward to antiretrovirals. From the very beginning, it was, well, why aren't these going to be used for prevention? And in fact, they've been fully realized. The treatment as prevention idea was always in the background in the 90s and early 2000s, but then the HB1052 study and other studies became almost a marketing event, where universal test and treat and immediate treatment became a mantra. And over the last 5 years, we've seen, we've gone from just a few million people treated to 19 million people treated. And at this meeting, we see the report of plummeting incidence of HIV in countries where treatment has been provided more broadly. So I think the hypothesis at the population level is being realized, right? So that's a tremendous advance. And not to mention how important treatment is for personal health, as it always was. And then we see treatment also being used as pre-exposure prophylaxis. For the highest risk people, the idea that they might, over some window of time, use antiretrovirals for such purpose, that's being fully realized as well. And new drugs are being developed just for that purpose. And then lastly, we see the movement of antibodies, the thing that vaccines are supposed to make, in movement as passive, for passive use, that is pre-made in a package to be infused or put sub-Q. We see them being developed for prevention. So it's a robust portfolio of materials and ideas over the 30 years, and most people think we're at sort of a tipping point in the pandemic with the falling incidence in many countries. The trick is not to be complacent and to keep moving on. Move on with what we know how to do, implementation, and move on with discovery.
It seems like there's a huge amount of little pieces of things that are happening at this conference, as there were at the previous several conferences. And it seems that's what's growing, and we don't know which is going to take off and land us a home run.
So you see at this conference all three things, prevention, treatment, and cure, all three are being discussed. And you don't have the mega discovery, right? You like the mega discovery, like Rome 052 was like the mega discovery, right? And eventually at one of these meetings, there'll be the mega discovery, a vaccine that's 70% effective, or an injectable prevention agent that is very, very effective, maybe 100% effective. So on and forth. This is a regrouping time. What you see is these smaller things will grow into acorns, will grow into trees.
Right. So I'm thinking that's what we're seeing, because I've seen this over the last couple of years. There's nothing for headlining at this point, but the headline is that we have a lot of work.
Right, a robust acorn. You have a lot of acorns. You want to be there when the tree is grown, and you probably will be. You probably will be there. They'll be we have timelines for our trees, and we hope in 2020, 2021 we'll have trees, and those trees will be exciting.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.